For millennia, prophets, seers, mystics, and psychics have foretold the return of the Christ, the great Redeemer of humanity. Most picture a dramatic future moment, Jesus descending in the clouds while the world watches in awe. But what if that image is more of a symbol, a metaphor pointing to something deeper? What if Christ's second coming isn't an external spectacle at all, but an inner awakening that calls every one of us to participate? Not as passive spectators, but as living embodiments of the Christ force. Connect to your higher self. Focus to motivate and enrich your life, and inspire others to find their true path. Join me on a journey to discover your power and higher purpose. What if the second coming isn't a dramatic appearance in the sky, but a shift in human perception, an upgrade in consciousness that lets us sense the living Christ now? Rudolf Steiner, the Austrian spiritual teacher who founded anthroposophy, said humanity is moving toward experiencing Christ in an etheric or life energy form, not as a new physical incarnation. Let's translate Steiner's early 20th century insights into 21st century language and see why our inner development determines whether we can recognize this return within our own inner being. Why your daily life matters spiritually. Steiner begins with something practical. No life is too small to matter to the cosmos. Think of reality as a giant mosaic. Some souls design the patterns, others place a single tile. Both are indispensable. Don't wait for a spiritual job title. Your real task is to grow inner qualities such as awareness, compassion, moral courage, right there in the place you stand. The forces you build in your soul become your own living capital. Karma may call on them years later. One honest conversation at an airport might carry more spiritual weight than a decade of public activism. Do the small things faithfully and keep deepening the soul behind them. Two streams in every life. We live in two interwoven currents, the outer stream of work, relationships, and deadlines, and the inner stream in which the soul senses its future and its place in the wider cosmos. Mature spirituality doesn't reject ordinary duties. Instead, it charges them with meaning. Serve the world, but wherever possible, create time for reflection, prayer, meditation, and study. When both streams are tended, your destiny finds you ready. Especially at a time when you feel you're at crossroads. Humanity's changing consciousness. According to Steiner, early humanity lived in a soft, dreamlike clairvoyance. People perceived spiritual beings such as angels, archangels, and other higher intelligences more vividly than physical, three-dimensional rocks and minerals. Over long ages, as humanity became more densified, that vision dimmed. We traded direct spiritual perception for sharp sense awareness, relying on our outer five senses, analytic thinking, and personal selfhood. One by one, we lost the higher vistas and woke to the very three-dimensional mineral, plant, and animal worlds. The gate to spirit narrowed so the free, self-aware I, the ego, could be born. The great leap, the Christ impulse. Evolution doesn't only creep up on us, it leaps like a plant jumping from leaf to flower. The greatest leap, says Steiner, was the Christ event in Palestine. Christ anchored the power of the human ego and opened a path back to the higher spiritual worlds, now consciously chosen by the I, and not passively received through a trance-like state. In other words, through human evolution, the human being went from being unconsciously directly connected to the divine world to becoming separated from the divine world via the development of the ego, or the I and free will, to now, through the advent of the Jesus the Christ, being able to find the way back to higher consciousness and spiritual unity. Imagine installing a secure, high bandwidth link between the human I and the divine field. Healing dark forces and the strengthened I. When human bodies were more pliable, strong spiritual forces, both healing or harmful, could flood in. Grace and possession were both easier. As matter densified, that openness shrank. Christ, working through the human being ready to receive this impulse, received through an awakened faith in the ego, drives out destructive influences and restores balance. Today, the call is to awaken Christ's strength within rather than chase outer spectacles or sensational miracles. The Beatitudes as an inner map. Steiner reads the Sermon on the Mount as an inner anatomy lesson through the physical body, the life body, or the etheric body, the feeling or astral body, and the layers of the soul. He said, "Blessed are the poor beggars in spirit." In an age when old, unconscious spiritual connection and clairvoyance has faded, those who hunger for spirit can now receive the kingdom inwardly. Blessed are those who mourn. Suffering opens the soul to Christ healing. Blessed are the merciful. Compassion matures the thinking soul. What we give returns. Taken together, the Beatitudes chart how the Christ life rebuilds us from being a mere three-dimensional body to becoming a fully awakened soul. From Kali Yuga to a new dawn. Steiner places the long darkening of spiritual sight, known in Hinduism as the age of the Kali Yuga, or the Dark Age, from 3101 BCE to 1899 CE. During this dark age, the Earth and our solar system drifted the furthest away from cosmic center and was plunged into a spiritual darkness or shadow period. Now, with the close of the Kali Yuga, new human faculties are beginning to stir. Over the coming centuries, more people will develop etheric sight, a subtle perception of life forces. Starting in the 20th century and unfolding for millennia, a growing minority will meet Christ in an etheric presence, something like Paul's Damascus experience, yet increasingly shared. He warned, expect false claims of a new physical Messiah. Christ, he said, will not return in another physical body. the test of our time. So we face a choice: sink deeper into materialism and miss the event, or prepare for the incoming radiant energies of Christ's unity consciousness. Preparation means steady inner practice, self-knowledge, ethical discipline, meditation, study of spiritual science, and loving service. Head, heart, and hands, or our thinking, feeling, and willing, working together, grow the subtle organs beyond the current 5 senses. These higher organs are needed to recognize the living Christ streaming through Earth's etheric life. Call to action. If you are willing and wanting to experience the Christ or unity consciousness within, you can start small. Treat every task as a tile in the mosaic. Build a daily 5-minute pause. Breathe, turn inward. Ask to align with Christ's love. Each night, review your day. Where did your soul harden? Where did you open? Transform raw emotion into strength through compassion exercises. No need to stay angry. No need to stay sad. Instead, find courage and strength within. Ask for guidance for your actions to benefit the good of all. Find community that supports sane, heart-centered actions and inquiry. Each morning ask, how can I be the highest version of myself I can be today? For Steiner, the return of Christ isn't about watching the skies. It's learning to perceive a presence that's already here, an etheric redeemer calling humanity into a new spiritual age. Whether we notice the presence or not, may shape the future of our own personal and the larger human evolution. Let's be awake. Adapted from a lecture by Rudolf Steiner, phrased for modern understanding. If you'd like to know more about Christ consciousness and the part we can play in influencing the world we live in through co-creation with the divine forces, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification button for regular updates. Thanks for watching. Your participation means that together we're co-creating a better world.